The universe we know is almost 14 billion years old, a span of time so vast it's nearly impossible for our minds to grasp. But the single most important, most violent, and most creative moment in its entire history lasted less than 1 second. A single heartbeat of time that set the stage for everything that exists today, including you and me. How could so much happen so fast? The answer is a story of unimaginable energy, impossible physics, and a cosmic scream that still echoes through space today. Before this moment, there was nothing. Not just empty space, but no space at all, no time, no matter. The very concepts we use to describe reality didn't apply. It was a state of pure non-existence. Then, in an instant too small to measure, everything appeared, not as stars or galaxies, but as a searing, brilliant flash of raw energy beyond all imagination. A point of infinite density and heat that contained the potential for every star, every planet, and every life form that would ever come to be. This was the Big Bang, but the real story, the one that truly shaped our cosmos, happened in the blink of an eye that followed. Let's break down that very first second. Within this single tick of a cosmic clock, the universe was a chaotic storm. Temperatures soared to trillions upon trillions of degrees, far hotter than the core of any star. In this inferno, energy was everything. It so completely dominated existence that the familiar particles of matter we know today, like protons and neutrons, couldn't even form. They were instantly annihilated if they tried. The fundamental laws of physics themselves were in flux, colliding and competing in a way we can barely comprehend. The universe was a soup of pure, untamed energy, too extreme and too volatile for any stable structure to survive. But then, something truly bizarre happened. In a tiny fraction of that first second, an event called cosmic inflation took place. The universe didn't just expand, it exploded. Space itself began to stretch at a speed far faster than the speed of light. Now, this doesn't break Einstein's laws, because it wasn't objects moving through space, it was the fabric of space itself expanding violently. Imagine a grid stretching in all directions at once. Distances doubled, then doubled again, and again, in an almost instantaneous chain reaction. A region smaller than an atom suddenly ballooned to be larger than a galaxy. This explosive growth smoothed out the universe, setting the stage for the large-scale structures we see today. During this same hyper-violent second, the fundamental forces of nature were born. In the beginning, physicists believed that all four forces, gravity, electromagnetism, and the strong and weak nuclear forces, were unified into a single, primordial superforce. But, as the universe expanded and cooled ever so slightly, they began to split apart. First, gravity broke away, establishing its rule over the cosmos. Then, the other forces separated, locking into place the fundamental rules of our reality. It was as if the universe was choosing its own operating system. This separation unleashed colossal amounts of energy, making it the loudest, most chaotic moment the universe will ever know. So, why was it so incredibly violent? It all comes down to energy density. The amount of energy packed into such a tiny space was so high that it warped the fabric of space-time itself. On the smallest scales, quantum chaos ruled. Particles popped in and out of existence, and the universe was a fizzing, unpredictable foam of possibilities. Nothing could remain stable. If this period of extreme violence had lasted even a fraction of a second longer, the universe might have collapsed back in on itself or expanded so quickly that matter could never clump together. It was a delicate, high-stakes balancing act that had to be perfect for our existence to be possible. We can't build a telescope to look back and see that first second directly. The universe was opaque, a fog of pure energy. But we can see its fingerprints, the ancient evidence it left behind. The most famous is the cosmic microwave background radiation. This is the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, a baby picture of the universe when it was just 380,000 years old. Within this glow, we see tiny temperature ripples, infinitesimally small variations that were caused by the quantum fluctuations during that first second, stretched to enormous sizes by inflation. These ripples were the seeds of all future structures, the places where gravity would eventually pull matter together to form the first galaxies. The universe still remembers its birth. And why does any of this matter to us, 14 billion years later? Because everything about our world was decided in that single, violent second. The explosive inflation determined the sheer size of our observable universe. The precise strength of the forces determined whether stars could ever ignite and forge the elements necessary for life. The delicate balance of expansion against gravity determined whether the universe would have a future at all. Without that specific sequence of events, that perfectly choreographed chaos, there would be no stars, no planets, no Earth, and no one to wonder about it. Our entire existence is a direct consequence of that first second. Could a moment like this ever happen again? It's a question that pushes the boundaries of science. Some theories, like eternal inflation or the multiverse, suggest that our Big Bang might not have been a one-time event. Perhaps new universes are constantly being born from the quantum foam, each with its own Big Bang and its own laws of physics. We might be living in just one bubble in an endless cosmic ocean of creation. But for our universe, for our reality, this was the one and only beginning. This was our genesis. The universe didn't begin with a quiet whisper. It began with a deafening, all-encompassing scream. It was born in a firestorm of energy and chaos, a moment of supreme violence that lasted for less than a second. In that single, fleeting instant, the script for all of cosmic history was written, and every star that shines, every planet that orbits, and every person who has ever looked up at the night sky is an echo, still reverberating from that magnificent, world-creating moment. Thank you so much for watching. If you're fascinated by the incredible story of our cosmos, be sure to subscribe for more journeys into the universe. See you next time.